Hi, it's Jane. On today's WOTWIP and Coffee, and I have iced coffee. I am actually just working on that circular shawl that I was doing. I've decided it's time to work on it a little bit. I've been working on other things. Just need to get it done. I'm laughing because Izzy is over there looking at me, across from me, getting ready to do something she knows she's not supposed to. So she turns to look at me like, are you going to stop me? You know I'm going to do it. So yeah, crazy. I did give folks an update. Yesterday I posted. I filmed another video where I'd given folks an update on what was going on with me health-wise. So I'm going to put that out here today. You'll see that other one again later on in the weeks to come. Because one of the healthier yous is going to be about that exact subject. So, I had a sleep study done probably back in, I want to say 2008. It may have been 2009 before I had my neck surgery. But it was around then that I had a sleep study done. And it was done at Geisinger in Danville. And the problem was when I got there, my room was outside the helipad. So I counted 4 helicopters that came in that night. Could hear every one of them. The girl that was outside running the test had a cold, was coughing all night long and slamming doors on cabinets and all kinds of things. So I never really got to sleep because it was very interrupted sleep. And they also had me on one of those rubber egg crate mattresses. And they insisted I sleep on my back. I don't sleep in my back. I have been a stomach or a side sleeper all my life. So I didn't get much sleep. So the doctor then, was really upset with me, told me I don't get restorative sleep, which I knew that. Duh. And then again, who could sleep in that environment? So he had given me a lot of grief. He said, why didn't you get to sleep? And I told him exactly why. He said, well, that's no reason. And I remember looking at him going, well, if you can sleep with all that noise, good for you. I can't. I said I thought it was going to be like they do in Chapel Hill, Duke. You go into a room that's completely soundproofed. They allow you to sleep in whatever position you want. Blah, blah, blah. And you don't have the helipad outside your bedroom window, which I could look out the window and see. So, he just kind of blew me off. I was like, all right, fine, whatever. So we hadn't done a repeat, and of course, I saw the cardiologist, and she was concerned because I had not had another sleep study done since then. So she had suggested to my physician we do a sleep study. And of course, at that time, she saw a lot of markers for amyloidosis. And so she wanted to run all the tests for it. They did run a lot of those tests. Some of the tests came back with positive proteins that normally shouldn't be there. But some of the other tests were normal and fine. And of course, the insurance denied allowing me to have the cardiac test, the heart scan, because I didn't have all the markers. So she was concerned about it, and she had asked one of her office mates, who quite incidentally is the wife of my husband's oncologist, the oncologist that saw him. So she said she told her what was going on, and she was talking to him, and he never did quite answer things. So she actually sent an email to him with all the lab results and everything that had happened so far. And because normally you would talk to an oncologist for amyloidosis for one of the treatments. And he said, I don't think this is amyloidosis. He looked into it, looked to the numbers and everything that was going on. He looked into the rest of my file there at the hospital. He said, I think this has to do more with her diabetes and the changes in her kidney, which if you're a diabetic, you have changes in your kidney all the time. He said he thinks that's related more to that than anything else. So she was thrilled about that. But in the meantime, my doctor had ordered that sleep study. And I had asked for a home study because I just did not want a repeat of the other study in itself. So they agreed to it. And of course, the whole thing about everything getting lost. And finally, neighbor's sister brought it down, because the neighbor that did receive it at 66 instead of 6 was away out of the country. Did the sleep study. Now, my doctor had called me to do a telemed the other day, which was Tuesday. We did the telemed, and she'd asked me if I'd looked at the results. I said, no, I hadn't gone online to see if they were back yet, so I hadn't looked at them. She said, well, you have moderate to severe sleep apnea. Well, I was surprised. Because I've never woke up gasping, anything else. I wake up tired a lot. But I've always attributed it to the fact that I just don't sleep well at night. I toss and turn. I'm up several times during the night, that kind of thing. And I told the doctor when she was talking about doing the sleep study, maybe that's the reason the cats walk on me, is because I'm not breathing and they're afraid they won't get breakfast in the morning. So I do have sleep apnea. And I don't really stop breathing, but what happens is my oxygen level goes down to about 62%. You normally want it above 90%, preferably above 92% all the time. But when you sleep, they accept 90%. Well, most of the time, I'm under 90%, but there's a large portion where I do drop down to 62%. So, the doctor has ordered CPAP and all that. I had asked her about the surgery. She said, well, I need to refer you to an ENT. And of course, the big thing is they don't do that anywhere local. I'd have to go to Pittsburgh to have what they call a clip put in. It is a surgical method that, looks to change things and help with that. She said, and of course, you're not sleeping, you're not getting good oxygen. She said, and that has a lot to do, that may be why we are so frustrated with your weight loss being so slow and almost non-existent now. And I said, yeah, I know sleep's important to losing weight. Done a lot of study about that. A lot of reading and investigating, researching about that kind of thing. So, so now I'm just waiting on the CPAP to get here. All that fun stuff and learn how to use it. And she did say that after we've been on the CPAP for a little bit, we'll look into surgical aspects if I don't have to go to higher pressure readings. She's going to start them out as really low pressure readings and see where it goes from there. That kind of thing. So, and I thought the kitty cats had a freak out the time I put all that gear on for the sleep study. Just wait till I get on the CPAP. That should be real interesting. So, yeah. which I'm really glad that I do not have amyloidosis. Particularly very thrilled with that because that can be a pretty severe thing as well. But then again, so can sleep apnea. Some of the things that can happen with it are pretty severe. And I sit here and I wonder if I had that all along, even since 2009, but because it was a poor study, we never bothered to go any further, to look further, to do a different study. So, anyway, that's what's going on health-wise. I am continuing to work on getting the weight loss off, doing all the fun exercising. I'm going to say fun, even though I don't enjoy it. And I do a lot of just walking around the house, in and outside of the house. Of course, with all the yard work I'm doing, I do count that as about 10 minutes of yard work, as 10 minutes of walking, because I'm doing a lot that I don't normally do, or haven't done. And of course, I use my infinity hoop. And just continuing to do that and to eat healthier. And yes, every once in a while, I have desserts. I'll give you an example. I have a Bible study. I had a Bible study today. Now, at this Bible study, after the Bible study, we have lunch together. It's a little bit of more time to socialize, that kind of thing. Just get to know one another, all that fun stuff. So, of course, at the Bible study, there was Caesar salad and what is called a Philly cheesesteak casserole, which is really good, but it had a lot of noodles in it. So I took a very small portion of that, had a larger salad, and then for dessert, they had two horrible decadent desserts, which one is just cut up angel food cake, and then you put on it a mixture. You've taken Cool Whip and mixed in a can of shredded, is it shredded or crushed? Crushed pineapple. And then you put that as a topping on that. And then also she had a angel food cake that had ice cream on top of it with crushed Hershey's bar with almonds. And it was a frozen dessert. So I had a small piece of both those desserts. Do I feel guilty about it? Not a bit. Because I do not normally have dessert in my home at all. If I do have a dessert, and I will say this lightly because I don't really do dessert, it's usually a piece of fruit or it's half of a sweet potato that has brown sugar, cinnamon on it, or just brown sugar. And normally the brown sugar is the Splenda blend brown sugar, so it's, a lighter fare. And that's generally what I consider dessert. Now, the only other thing I do each night when I go to bed, I have a small miniature Reese's cup, and it's actually a dark chocolate Reese's cup, and they're, about like that? Not very big. I have one of those each night. And blood sugars are still good, everything else. So, yeah. And this is what I find interesting. People who would judge you by your looks, not understanding what you go through. And I work really hard to try to get that weight off. And sometimes I see good results, and other times it takes a while to see results. And sometimes those are just called plateaus. But I do know that my clothes are fitting loosely. I have to keep pulling up my pants. So the measurements show, because I've already talked about you really need to track your progress. My measurements show that I am down. They're smaller, so yep, still working on that. But that's going to be one of those things that it's probably going to be a lifelong battle. And unfortunately, we as women, we battle it forever, it seems. So yeah, that's been fun. I am now trying to make sure that, let me see what I did. Let me tell you what I used to do. I didn't read very often before I went to bed. Now I've gotten into a habit where I read 30 minutes before I go to bed, before I go to sleep. So, as part of my trying to get things done around here and things that I would like to do more crafting, I am actively spending at least 30 minutes a day in the evening after supper, either crocheting or knitting. And it's important to find time for your hobbies because, as you know, one of the things with crochet and knitting is they seem to calm your mind and to give you comfort. So, and generally what happens is when I sit down actively to sit and crochet, I'll crochet for 45 minutes to an hour or knit 45 minutes to an hour before I need to move on to some other kind of work or something that I need to do. Yeah. So, still waiting on, I had called one gentleman about the damage in the bedroom closet, about the water damage, and he came out and he gave me an estimate that I think's way too high. So I've asked for a second fellow to come out, and he had to call and cancel because of family emergency. So I'm waiting on him to come back out and, to get out to give me an estimate. I think the other guy quoted like $8,000. I don't think so. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the cost of, I know what it costs to get the drywall. I know what it's going to cost. I already have the paint, so we don't have to worry about the paint. The boards are wooden boards, so they can be redone, resanded, and repainted. So the only thing that we're replacing is the drywall. And I'm sorry, that's an awful expensive amount to do a partial of 3 walls. And I do mean sections like this in those walls. So, and I told him I don't want him to paint, I'll do the painting. In fact, I'll finish the boards, the baseboards. He doesn't even have to do that. I just need someone to put the drywall up for me. I can do the rest. So, I think not. We're not going to go that route. But yeah, this home ownership sometimes is for the birds. And like I said, I had a friend who gave me grief. Told you should have got pans under those the washing machine. I said to her, I do have a pan under the washing machine. But where the crack in the pipe was, it wouldn't have even hit the pan, and it didn't. So, it solves a lot of problems, but it does not solve all of the problems, unfortunately. And it did not in my case, so. You know, there are times you wonder why. Why? Well, it's just part of life, folks. You know, we get all kinds of things that happen to us that we don't expect. So, what are you guys working on today? I wouldn't mind seeing those projects that you're working on. You know, snap a little picture, put it up on the Facebook group, Scraptastic Yarns. I like seeing everybody's work. I have to tell you, I've been listening to Connie talk about her kitty cats. As you know, she got 2 cats, both black, and they are absolutely adorable. I've been seeing pictures of them. So, you really need to give a go look-see to meet her new family members. And I think she's really enjoying having those kitties in her life. So, go get a look-see, see what they are. Not only that, but she has a current bingo game that is going on. So go over to her channel, see if you want to play the bingo game, register for some prizes. Trying to remember when the date is. It may already have passed. Or maybe it's Friday. But you need to choose your numbers for the game. But anyway, I'm going to leave the link down below to her channel for that video. And Connie and I were talking about, she had said she couldn't share that link. And she's wondering if the reason that Facebook wouldn't let her share the link is because it had bingo in it, and it's a form of gambling. I told her, I said, I find that a little hard to believe, and here's why. But you never know. Because I follow a couple of slot YouTube channels, because I enjoy watching the slots videos. I enjoy that. As you know, I also enjoy going to the casino every once in a while. But those folks are able to share links to their videos, and that is gambling. So I'm not sure why Facebook would not allow her with her Just Another Stitch Facebook group post that, but for whatever reason, they won't. So go check out her channel to see if you would like to get in on that bingo game. So, I don't know. Pretty weird. Just crazy, it seems. Everything that's going on in the world today just seems a little crazy, doesn't it? Huh. But yeah. And here's another question I have for you. Do any of you vend outside of Etsy or Shopify or Mercari or anything like that? Do you do any craft fairs? If you do, what are some of the things that you find are your best sellers? I was trying to figure out what was wrong with the cat. He just jumped into a box. But I enjoy watching those people who do talk about their craft fair experiences. You know, like Lisa of Happy to Hook Creations and Rose of Rose Likes Crochet. I do love watching those videos, seeing them talk about their craft fairs what sold, what didn't sell, what they're planning on making for their craft fairs, that kind of thing. As you know, each year with the Christian Women's, there's a craft fair, and I generally do take some things to sell there. I don't expect a whole lot of sales, but it is kind of fun to take a few things, and just leave those. This year I was thinking of making some small, they could be called gift card holders or small little money pouches, that you could slip a gift card into, that kind of thing, and selling those for a few dollars. I have not decided if I'm absolutely going to do that, because a lot of the interfacing that I have already put up, and that craft fair is in October, so if I'm going to, I need to get off my butt and do it. So, and there's a part of me that says I just won't participate in the craft fair this year at all. It is a very time-consuming thing. So yeah, just trying to decide if I want to or not this year. And there's a part of me that says I think I'm just going to skip it this year. And what are your favorite things to look at when you are at craft fairs? Do you have a certain thing you're looking for? Just looking for ideas? That kind of thing. I love going to craft fairs. I like to see a lot of the different things just in general. So, and this year we've had a couple of craft fairs, but a lot of them have been paired with fundraisers. And I don't really like going to fundraisers unless I know what it is about and I want to support it. There's a part of me that feels guilty if I'm going to a craft fair that's also a fundraiser, and they're trying to raise funds, and I don't want to buy into it. So, just weird, bizarre, that kind of thing. But I don't know if the weather is cooler where you're at, but it's been cooler here. I've had to get up several mornings to do things outside and had to wear a jacket. Thought I was ready for it, but now I'm not so sure. I'm glad that it's not hot and, crazy hot, that kind of thing, but I'm also not looking forward to the colder weather, whereas normally I would have been. So that's a little bit on the strange side, for me, I think, to feel that. But I had watched the Boggy Creek last night. See those beautiful blankets, and boy, there are some stunning blankets out there. And I had noticed where somewhere it just totally escaped my mind that Mama Swift, Trisha, was doing the Boggy Creek again. Not Boggy Creek, the Luck of the Draw again. This is probably one of the first years I've not participated in it. So, find that interesting. Glad to see her back on YouTube. But I think think this is week 2 or maybe week 3 of it. Of course, it doesn't take much to catch up if you sit down and just do it. If you're behind. But the Luck of the Draw has always been a fun way to get a blanket done, because you can do it in bits and pieces. Of course, the whole idea of that is to actually just, I think it's you take one as your main color and another 7 different colors, and then you give them a number, and then during each week the number is picked. A number is picked, and you'll do that color along with your main color for I think 3 rows of each, maybe 4 rows of each, I can't remember. See, it's been that long ago. And of course, Jack's Creations by Jack's had created the Boggy Creek blanket as well. The Boggy Creek Luck of the Draw style, or Luck of the Draw Boggy Creek style, I think is the name of it. And if you're doing blankets, there's a lot of blankets now on Charmed Grammy's YouTube channel. It's a playlist simply for Boggy Creek blankets, and they are different patterns that different content creators are creating for the Boggy Creek blanket drive. So that's always interesting to see. But I'm always fascinated by the different patterns and different looks to each blanket when they're shown. They're absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you, last night I was feeling a little guilty because here I am getting ready to send off Christmas granny squares to Billy. And she made a comment about she's getting a lot of Christmas. Now there's a part of me that says, well, I need to go out there and dig out some orange and some green and purples. Maybe some of those blacks, send some of those in as well. You know, because she's doing Christmas, St. Patrick's Day, and Halloween blankets for the Boggy Creek, her portion of the Boggy Creek drive. Oh. But no, and I say that jokingly, I'm not going to feel guilty about sending her Christmas squares. You know, and a lot of those greens she can use elsewhere. So the only thing is maybe I'll pull out some oranges somewhere and throw in a couple of orange squares, some black squares, that kind of thing, so she can add those to her Halloween blanket. So maybe I'll put away the Christmas and concentrate on a few of those other colors so that I don't feel so guilty about doing so much Christmas. I just thought it would be a great way to use up my yarns, those Christmas yarns that I collect. And let's face it, I collect yarn. If you have a stash, well, maybe I should put it like someone else said. I don't collect yarn. I am a curator of yarn. So, and Lord knows I've got plenty of it out there. Just need to pull it out and start using it. And I might go out there and do that, just that. Pull out some of those yarns and get them used. 3 more sections, okay. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on here these days. Working on stuff, having fun. And then not having fun, you know, doing the yard work. It's fun, but it isn't fun. Part of it is because it's so much physical work, and it really wears me out. So, yeah, I do get tired quite a bit from that. But has to be done. So, I had one of my neighbors stop down, talk to me about that. She said, you know, I admire you for doing all this on your own. She goes, it's not easy. And she asked me why I didn't hire someone to do that. And I said to her, have you stopped by and really looked at that property? I said, really looked at the way that the yard is shaped and what's out there? And she said, no. I said, well, when you get done with the mailbox, because we were at the mailbox talking, I said, come up and we'll walk around the house. So she came up and pulled in and walked her around the house, the yard and everything. She looked at me and she said, now I understand why you were talking about that no one will come work it. She said she wondered why I was out there with the weed eater instead of mowing. And I said I would prefer to mow, but there are so much rocks out there. There are piles of rock, stone, that the contractor left. And the only thing I have done is I have a friend who is a contractor, and he told me the best thing that I can do for the soil is actually just spread those rocks further apart. So I take a rake and I move them so that they're out of the way. I have an area in the back here that kind of dips down, and he said that'd be a great place to just put a lot of that pea gravel that's there. Just spread it around in that area, and that'll help quite a bit. So that's what I've been doing. And, now she's like, now she understands exactly why I can't get someone to come mow. Not only the price, but it would eat up their machine, and they're not willing to do that. And I don't blame them. So, and I did find it interesting. My lawyer called this morning, and he said the contractor's lawyer wants to know if we can make some kind of settlement out of court. So I asked my lawyer, I said, why does he want that now? I had offered him something months ago before this all came to a head, and he refused it. He said, I don't know. And I said, well, let me ask you. Do you think he can't get all the documentation that he needs to prove his case? And he said to me, well, I will tell you that when we had that meeting, that he could not produce most of those things. And he could not find a lot of that documentation. And he had told his lawyer that he just couldn't find it. I said, well, I don't plan on making any settlement with him at the moment, and I couldn't if I wanted to until the house is sold. So I guess the answer to that is no. And he kind of laughed. He said, good girl. I was hoping you would say that. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to come of it. We will see. And like I told my lawyer, I think I have paid him enough for this house. Especially since I did not get a finished product out of it. That I'm having to do a lot of things on my own to finish it. So, yeah. But it's interesting, nonetheless, in the long run. Well, folks, I'm coming up to the end of this row here, and I think I have chatted on long enough, rambled about a lot of nothing. So, I am going to let you go for now, and I will see you again next week. Everybody have a great week. Be a little kinder to yourself. Remember, the donkeys and the elephants don't control us. All right, bye.